Hey, everybody, and welcome into a new episode of the Eye on the Tigers video edition. I'm Ben Frederickson alongside Dave Matter, here to break down some Mizzou football. Our video weekly is brought to you by Closets by Design of St. Louis. For a limited time, you can get 40% off any order of $1,000 or more, or 30% off any order of $700 or more. And on top of that, you can get an additional 15% off any complete system order. And remember, you can get free installation for any order of $500 or more. Call 1-800-BY-DESIGN to order today. Dave, it's a strange place we're in. Missouri has 2 shots at bowl eligibility, and we did not expect to be saying this when the season started, but the Tigers might have a better chance of getting that bowl eligibility by beating Florida than they will be by beating Arkansas at the end of the season. And we did not see that coming, but what's going on with these Gators, and how do you compare them right now to Missouri's last game, which will come against Arkansas on the road?
Yeah, I mean, Missouri's an underdog against Florida. It's around 8.5, 9 points. But I think they've got a much better shot at winning this game than they do the day after Thanksgiving down in Arkansas. For one, it's a home game, last home game of the year, senior day. They're going to honor a bunch of seniors. Some of them may come back next year. Some are a little uncertain, but this is a great opportunity for Missouri. Florida is trending in the wrong direction. Yes, they won their FCS game last week. Yes, they almost lost their FCS game last week. They beat Samford, not Stanford, Samford, 70-52. They were losing at halftime. They gave up 42 first half points, the most points Florida's ever given up in one half, ever, against anybody. It was at the Swamp. Dan Mullen is probably coaching for his job at this point, and his team hasn't done a whole lot to back him, through the last few weeks. Just 6-8 weeks ago, they took Alabama to the wire. Since then, they beat Tennessee, they beat Vanderbilt, but they have really struggled against everybody else. And you just wonder if they've got any fight left in them. Whereas Missouri is coming off a nice win over South Carolina, didn't get blown off the field at Georgia, won the week before at Vanderbilt. They've got their own issues at quarterback, but just a great opportunity to clinch bowl eligibility so you don't have to do it the following week on the road in, a rivalry game at Arkansas.
A rivalry game that includes Barry Odom as the defensive coordinator, so there's motivation there. Also includes Arkansas just coming off of a win against LSU. They're now ranked in the college football playoffs. So what do you think the difference has been for Florida? I thought they were overrated a little bit entering this year. They've lost a ton of talent on the offensive side, but the expectations were still very high. I didn't think they'd get there, but I didn't think they'd be this dysfunctional. Is it just Dan Mullen cracking under that pressure that he didn't have at Mississippi State? What do you think's been the problem for the Gators in terms of what they expected to be and what they've become?
Yeah, their defense was historically bad in 2020. They brought back Todd Grantham, the defensive coordinator, then fired him after a bad loss to South Carolina. So that side of the ball, they've got good players. They've got talent. Eli Drinkwitz said it this week. It's like, you watch the film, I can't really pinpoint why they haven't been as good. It hasn't clicked for whatever reason. They don't tackle great. They don't play with a lot of aggression. The physicality is not there, which you would expect from a Florida defense necessarily. And offensively, they put up numbers. Emory Jones is their quarterback. He puts up a ton of yards from week to week, real dual threat. They've got Anthony Richardson, this phenomenally talented freshman who's been in and out of the lineup with some injuries. But it just hasn't been a real consistent offense. They run the ball pretty well, better than they throw it. Certainly not as well as they threw it last year with Kyle Trask and all those weapons that he had. But just something isn't right with this team and with this program. Mullen has been a really good coach through the course of his career. I don't know if the pressure is getting to him. Maybe he's been very defensive this year. He says some oddball things. We know about the antics that he had last year with the fight against Missouri. It was brought up a lot again this week, and both coaches kind of dismissed that it would boil over into this game on Saturday. Who knows, though? You never know with Dan Mullen.
You never know. He might bring a Darth Vader costume. We'll see if we get a redo on Dan Mullen's Halloween attire. Dave, quickly before we go, still some uncertainty around the Mizzou quarterback situation. I wrote a column from Columbia last week saying, hey, if you're ever going to give Brady Cook a shot, this is the chance. Do you think that Eli switches up his starters after benching Connor Bazelak late in the South Carolina win?
We shall see. On Wednesday, when you and I were in St. Louis, the quarterbacks met with the rest of the media, both of them. So I give Eli Drinkwitz credit for letting both of those guys talk. Brady Cook talked about it. Hey, this is a competition. Same as last week. I'm here competing with Connor and, approaching the game like I could start. Bazelak really talked about his injury for the first time, didn't quite specify what it is. He's not as mobile as he'd like to be or could be, less mobile than Brady, but he still looks at himself as the leader of this team. And we'll see. It could be one of those game time decisions. Maybe they both play a little bit. It's definitely going to be one or the other. But I'm with you. I say if you're going to give a shot to somebody other than Connor, see what Brady Cook can do. And he's healthy. He can run around. He's done nothing but what they've asked him to do the last 2 years when he's played in games. And it'd be interesting to see him start from the beginning.
We'll see what the Tigers can do against a reeling Gators team. We'll have coverage. Dave and I will both be there in Columbia on Saturday for coverage at stltoday.com and in the pages of the Post-Dispatch. Thanks to Closets by Design for sponsoring our video. Keep it locked at stltoday.com for all of your Tigers coverage. For Dave, I'm Ben. We'll talk to you next week.